And
there we
are
go.
off. As the uncle walks off the screen in sync, we open up our first chest to find just a piece of heart.
Now, this is normal difficulty, so we do not have the nerfs to defense like we did last game there, and since that was hard mode, which is always a good thing to see.
Should be a lot of fun, so more of the unsafe strategies should be employed to see some more speed and a little bit more danger, which I quite prefer as we just continue being almost pixel for pixel as we jump on down and visit our uncle and see what he's holding on to. Oh wait, it's a sword. It's almost as if we were assured of this.
Gasp! Shock and awe! But we have our second major chest here, and here we are going to be having the key to Hyrule Castle.
Interesting. Which, well, I suppose because we're in standard mode, we were going to have to find that somewhere along this way.
Yeah, I guess that's technically not this dungeon.
Because it's Castle Tower if it's Aga Tower.
Yeah, so the differences between those are always bother me a little bit. But anyhow, we are going right into the Zelda rescue segment here. We've got a pretty synced up still there. Kohrek's just got like about 1 second of a lead on the lane. That's negligible, if anything.
Just all the matter of grabbing that bush properly as we find the compass for Desert Palace. The compasses have been shuffled outside of their dungeons and don't provide much aside from a tracker of how many item locations you've opened. The maps can be found, and that will reveal if it's a pendant or a crystal on the map. Until you find that, you will not be able to see if you're in there. And if you think the music's going to help you, think again, because that's been randomized.
Yep, and although this is all dungeons, so all dungeons, including Aga Tower, is required to beat the seed, otherwise Ganon remains invincible, so whether a dungeon is pendant or crystal, it does not matter as much unless something is on the pedestal today.
Or in Ganon's Tower, because you can have that scenario where the item you need to finish the pendant dungeons is hiding somewhere in Ganon's Tower, and you don't want to be called a dingus before you get there, so you better make sure you've got everything you need to do to complete the seed.
One always wants to avoid the unfortunate fate of being called a dingus, the most shame-worthy thing of all.
I would also like to give a shout out to our German restream team, which are hanging out on Speed Gaming Deutsch. If you're a German speaker, I would suggest giving them a follow or giving them a watch. And there we have the Master Sword hiding in Princess Zelda's cell. So, quick swords.
Early Master Sword is very interesting there. If we find a lamp early on there, one wonders about an early Aga Tower required.
Or at least a early dip into the chests in Aga's Tower, because those two chests in there are usually just keys. However, this is key sanity, so it could be something that we need to advance to another part of the dungeon, another part of the seed.
That is correct there. We have the two Castle Tower keys that we need to find. And just like the Ice Rod is required for Turtle Rock and only Turtle Rock, there's a lot of keys that are just sole requirements for that. And they can be literally almost anywhere in the world. So they can be just that one item for the sea.
Big small keys to look out for. The Thieves' Town small key, which will unlock the big chest room. The small key for Desert Palace, which opens up that right-hand side, and the small key for Swamp Palace, because that's the only way to get past the first chest. As well as, of course, the big keys in almost every dungeon.
There are a small handful of dungeons where the big key is just a one-off thing that you don't really need, but those are a bit few and far between.
I think Swamp Palace and Skullwoods.
Yep. And Steve's Town is required, so let me.
CT, if you're asking in chat, it stands for the Castle Tower, which is the Aga Tower, but which we will need to clear, as this is an all-dungeon seed. So we'll have to find both those keys before we get to the top. Another chest reveals just a piece of heart. Continue on to the back of Escape. 3 more items to find there. Let's see what kind of direction this seed points is in after we escape the escape.
Luckily, both runners have picked up a bomb, so we'll be able to check those 3 chests on the back of Escape and won't have to backtrack for these.
Kohrek has an extra one in his inventory. See if that comes into play as well. They spoke too soon, as now they both have 2 bombs to go into Kakariko. Well, they both have an extra bomb to go into Kakariko with.
Yep, that's right there. We just have those 2 bombable walls that we need to get rid of in order to check all the chests there. But we've got some bombs in the chest, so that makes things even easier.
Won't have to worry about farming or buying bombs just to get us through the Kakariko village checks. We'll see where it goes further on here.
And we are still neck and neck as we make the exit out of the Escape into Sanctuary there. Zelda has returned to her rightful place there, and we've got $100 as a reward.
557 and 558 escape sequences as you go from left to right. So we're looking pretty close as we come out, and pretty standard fare when you find a sword. You tend to blaze through it.
Pretty much there. And I expect that we're going to have the normal clear through Kakariko Village and Skullwoods and all that jazz as well. So let's see what early items we'll get and where the seed is going to be pointing us to first.
Interesting that neither of our runners decides to check the Lumberjack ledge, as there's a higher chance that could be holding on to something important as this is key sanity. And being all dungeons, you don't have to worry about having to go through Aga Tower. As we find there the bolt coin hanging out, growing in its natural habitat in the Lost Woods.
Yep, there we have the... I was going to make a joke about plants and ether medallions there, but I can't think of anything, so oh well.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost there myself, as Kohrek decides to save and quit after this, and Thalane's going to go ahead and continue south into the village. Looks like Kohrek's going to check the south side and then work their way through Kakariko from the bottom up.
It's an interesting choice here. I mean, and you get to check Mini Moldorm Cave earlier on Kohrek's side there, but the lane gets to check out the Well and Blind's hideout. So, interesting choice of which area you prioritize.
Yeah, so Kohrek is heading down to the dam, and Thalane is heading into Thieves' hideout. Let's see what we got hiding in these 2 locations. So we find an early lamp for Kohrek. So we've got a Master Sword and a lamp. We're being pointed toward Aga Tower really hard, as we find a compass for Turtle Rock, 300 rupees, another 20 rupees there, and a piece of heart on Thalane's side.
Interesting indeed. So let's see what we got here. Kohrek has just unleashed the dam. We get a Desert Palace key on the lane side, and Kohrek has got a key to, let's see here, Castle Tower.
We get pointed even harder. Now both of those chests are now available in the Castle Tower. With that 1 key, you need 2 to complete and 1 to get both chests.
It's not explicitly telling you to go to Castle Tower there, but it's wiggling its eyebrows and mouthing, go over there.
And then we find a Mire key for Thalane, not the most useful, just makes it a little bit faster going through Mire. A Mire and Skullwoods keys are just kind of not necessary. So we find a lift upgrade, the Swamp Palace small key, and the hookshot for Thalane. We're now a pair of flippers short of most of the access to Swamp Palace once we find our way into the Dark World.
Interestingly enough there, that does give us access to Death Mountain with the gloves and the lamp, and even to East Death Mountain there, so we've got the access to Paradox Cave as well for even more goodies, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, you're absolutely right. We have a lot of items available to us before we even think of looking into a dungeon at this point. Kohrek's going to make their way down toward the Mini Moldorm Cave to see what 5 items are hiding inside here. With Master Sword and bombs, with a full health Master Sword, I imagine he won't have much trouble with these things called Mini Moldorms, as you find just a single rupee in the back of the bar.
Apparently the bar's not doing too well. He's seen better days. We've had adventurers trying to loot the place all over.
Now we got an Ice Palace big key, the small key for the Tower of Hera, And the magic mirror in Mini Moldorm Cave. So we've opened up another location in the Tower of Hera, the Big Chest and Ice Palace, and the mirror will be a nice find.
And on top of the library shelf there was a medallion there. I didn't get a good look at which one it was there, so it may or may not even be required.
I'm being told by chat that it was the Quake medallion hiding on the library ledge. And Thalane decides to dive the race game, which you see in the Key Sanity lot, and pays off well with a big key for Desert Palace.
That's 100% required big key, so that's always a good thing to have cross off your list.
And with everything that we have available, Desert Palace is now fully clearable. We have the fire source on Kohrek's side with the lamp, which Thalane's about to find. And with his lift upgrades and both keys, Desert Palace is 100% completable. The only thing we can't do is pull the item off the torch.
And we still need to open the door to it as well, which is not possible at the current moment.
Oh yes, the book. How could I forget? I'm not the most literate type, as you can tell.
Well, it's more for those archaeologist types here who need to study the ancient languages of Desert Palaceum.
I believe it's Hyrulean, or just odd scribbles.
Really bad handwriting is what it is there. They weren't known for being all that clear when they wrote on stone tablets.
And again, that they could be weathered from lots of time. Who knows how long ago those ancient tablets were etched?
It was actually from a couple months ago there. The people who used to inhabit this temple just couldn't pay the rent.
Unfortunate to be evicted from your own temple. As Thalane decides to just use the Ether Medallion to take care of those mini Moldorms.
It's like, nuke it, everyone dies! Well, that's certainly a fast way to do it.
Push the button, everything dies. Feels good, man.
Alright, so we're just retracing each other's steps here. We've got Kohrek taking on the southern Hyrule area.
See what's hiding out in the Ice Rod Cave? As Kohrek is making their way through the Kakariko village, so they'll come out with not too many answers of a location. Death Mountain available to us, both chests in the castle tower, and we still haven't been to the Eastern Palace area as of yet.
Yeah, we can still check that out. We still have access to Death Mountain at the present moment. We still have all those giant hints telling you to go to Aga Tower. So we'll see whether they want to do this Aga Tower or try and save it for that easy endgame progression.
And just a $20 tip for a long walk in a cold cave for Thalane.
When they say cold hard cash, I don't think that's what they meant.
I'd imagine it's pretty hard cash. I'd imagine a rupee is relatively hard. And it looks like Thalane is going to make their way toward Death Mountain, if I had to wager a guess.
With the hookshot in tow there, all those chests in Paradox Cave are calling your name. It's just one of those big chest caches that you really want to see. And I think are we going to check out Lumberjack Cave? No, we're leaving that for later.
But that is a really nice tree pull for Thalane there, the 4 bombs. You can't complain about that.
This early in the game, their bombs are worth their weight in gold for all of those bombable cracks that you have to open up along the way. We've got a lot of them there, but even so.
And also a helpful tool for eliminating some of the more pesky enemies, though. Equipped as we are with the hookshot and master sword, not much will stand in these runners' wake. So there are still dead rocks.
Alright, we get a full heart container from the old man. So let's see, we're going to be checking up towards... oh, no, looks like we're going to Paradox Cave first, and then going to be checking out Spectacle Rock afterwards.
Interesting choice of routing, but I can see where he's going for, because then he can just go in and check the items inside Tower of Hera. He can't clear it, but he can open up. He does have access to 3 locations on the bottom of Tower of Hera with the lamp and small key in tow.
Yep, you can. That is correct there. And Kohrek is heading towards the Eastern Palace area. Gonna be checking out what Sasha has and all of the other goodies in his closet.
We have a piece of heart and 10 arrows hiding in the first part of Paradox Cave as we enter the Kakariko Village Elders' little house here, as we find out that the green pendant is in Swamp Palace.
All right, so if you want to see what old man Sasha's got in his pockets, we're gonna have to take a dip into the stinky swamp.
And he's got the flute in the back there as we find the Turtle Rock big key and not much else on Thalane's side.
Well, it's another big key that you want off your mind, so that's always good to find.
I'd imagine that Kohrek, with that finding that flute, is going to say, you know what, I'm going to go turn that on and fly my way to the mountain.
Well, you can't fly yourself to the moon, but you can fly yourself to the, close enough.
Truly the highest point in Hyrule. I did not see what that was on the floating island there.
Looked interesting, but I didn't get a good look at it either there. It kind of looked like a...
It is a small key.
Ooh,
but what
that could be
small
anything.
Key? We have no idea. It could be a Ganon's Tower small key. We don't know.
Yeah, one thing that we will need to keep an eye out for is that one of the more key intense dungeons, well, is Palace of Darkness and Turtle Rock there. So Palace of Darkness is split up into several sections where having X amount of keys will let you further and further into it there. And Turtle Rock is not completable until you have at least 3 and 4 if you want to get everything in it.
Yeah, but if you walk in with 3 small keys to Turtle Rock, you'll have to abandon the vanilla big key location. With the Palace of Darkness, depending on if you have the bow and how you want to do things, it is possible to clear it with 4, I believe. But you have to hammer Yump and do a few other tricks along the way,
and abandon a few chests as well, if you're aiming solely to take down King Helmasaur.
True. See how this lays out as we see the Super Mario 2 or Doki Doki Panic Shy Guy for the bunny sprite there. I appreciate that.
That's hilarious. I love it.
See just a compass on Spectacle Rock Ledge, so Thalane's gonna walk away. 3 items here in the Tower of Hera for Thalane, maybe something that'll point us in a new direction.
We'll get a hint along with
the 20. First hint of the game says a unique item is in the Kakariko Well. Well, we would not have got here without it.
We find the small key to Thieves' Town there, so that will unlock the Thieves' Town big chest. So that's one potential orphaned location that we no longer have to worry about.
However, we're still looking for the big key, so we've got a ways to go before we can look at that. And we're still missing 2 pieces of the puzzle for our Dark World access. Maybe one of them is hiding here, behind Thalane's coffee break setup with that nice sword beam. It's Kohrek's making their way through the Paradox Cave, finding just that Turtle Rock big key and not a whole lot else.
Looks like both of our runners have got the same idea, but have, due to the divergence at the start there, are going about it in different orders.
It's one of the more interesting things to see in at this level of Link to the Past randomizers, to see how divergences in the early game can converge when we get to the end.
Yeah, you'll get to see exactly... Oh, we've got the Titan's Mitts there. We now have one step closer to Dark World access. We just need that Moon Pearl.
And taking a look at what's sitting, what is jumping out at us for locations the Moon Pearl could be hiding yet. We have not seen this cave. We do have logical access to King Zora.
This is true. This is true. We've got pretty much enough money for it there. The lane is just almost at 500, where our Kohrek is sitting healthily over it. But we've got Spiral Cave here being checked by Kohrek, and inside we find a map to Ice Palace.
It was interesting that Thalane decided to check the item and then just go back and do it anyway. The big key of Evil's Bane requires the cape. I do believe that means it's on the bumper ledge.
It's either Bumper Ledge or Spike Cave, but I'm leaning more towards Bumper Cave, personally.
We will see where it ends up. That's one of the 2 guaranteed hints, but being that this is a key sanity race. The other guaranteed hint in every seed is a boots hint, but there's no guarantee you'll find it, or that'll even just expressly say boots.
All right, the lane is going up towards Aga Tower. So, following all those hints to go check those chests, not sure if we're going to get all the way up to beat Aga himself at the moment, but we'll at least check out what he's got in store.
The big key of Evil's Bane, for those who are not initiated, is the big key for Ganon's tower.
It's one of those keys that can be almost literally anywhere in the game, and is often the key hunting point in key sanity. And they just, with the hint tiles, they decided to give you a little bit of a head start onto where it could be.
Alright, so he burned his 1 key here, unless the 2nd key for Castle Tower decides to show itself on this next chest. That is as far as Thalane can go in the Castle Tower here. We will see what he opens up. When he opens up this chest, mirror in hand, he finds just a heart container. We're moving on.
So no progression in the chests in Aga Tower there. We still need that moon pearl, so Aga is not required to get into the Dark World, because we'll need the moon pearl either way, unless it's on the pyramid.
And we find our other key, perhaps in Eastern Palace, which I believe is the only location that has gone unchecked at this point.
We've cleared out most of the overworld. We've checked out Hera. We've cleaned out Death Mountain of all of its goodies that we can get at the present moment. So yeah, Eastern Palace is the place to go.
Now, without the big key in hand, we cannot get to the boss or the big chest. We'll see what turns up inside, though. I do believe Thalane still has to visit Sahasrara, and there he will find his flute. Though I do, just keeping myself in check here, with the flute and the Titan's Mitts and the mirror, we can get into Desert Palace now, as well as the Checkerboard Cave, because the logic can require you to bunny walk through Misery Mire, as I found out myself the hard way.
Oh, that is correct. That is a bit convoluted, but that is correct. But no doubt that has occurred to our runners.
I guess this is the question of which of the 2 you'd rather do, and Thalane's at least gonna go turn on his flute and make that decision afterward.
Interesting choice that he did not decide to go into Eastern Palace while he was there.
He may be thinking that the logic is definitely pointing him to having to do some bunny walking.
All the pieces are in place for that there, so it would be a good intuition check if he is right. And there's the moon pearl on the desert ledge.
Alright, so 100% he has to walk as a bunny through the very dangerous Misery Mire, where those murder tacticals are at every turn.
They've earned their name for a reason.
Has his mirror in hand, I doubt that's going to catch up to him in time, but it's getting close as he decides to check Misery Mire to find out that it is the Ether Medallion, which we are already holding on to. So
I believe that's the vanilla medallion for that, not that that matters all that much, but we do have it in hand, so that's always good.
And at right about 24 minutes, we finally have our access to the Dark World, and Kohrek, with the keys in hand, is going to go ahead and take on Desert Palace right here and now. The only thing we do not have access to is the item on the torch, which could be nothing we need.
Or it could be everything we need, or it could be something that we don't know that we need.
Or something that it looks like we need, but we don't. For the person asking in chat, this is a randomizer based on the Japanese 1.0 of the A Link to the Past ROM, so there's some glitches that are exclusive to the 1.0. And we find out that the fire rod, did that say the fire rod was at the Kakariko Village Elder?
I think it said it was in the Dark Village, if I'm not mistaken.
I couldn't, it went by really fast.
So I believe it should be in Village of Outcasts if I didn't read it wrong.
Yeah, that would mean it's in the Village of Outcasts. I was excited for a green pendant. Sometimes I try to live too much of the hype. So you find another 300 there on Kohrek's side.
Kohrek is just swimming in money at this point. The lane is not that far behind, only just like halfway across the dungeon, and that's just a short jaunt. So we still are just mere rooms apart from each other.
It looks like Kohrek's going to go ahead and check the Mire Shed before they go take care of the rest of Desert Palace here. I'm feeling they'll probably check Mire Shed and probably Checkerboard Cave and then take care of Land Molus. Being as that it's just the compass on the torch, we don't have to worry about the boots quite yet.
That is correct there, and we can also check Gina on the way out as well.
Alright, one mirror transition and a rock lift for Kohrek, and we'll see what's hiding in the checkerboard puzzle. Not much of a puzzle when you have the mirror in hand due to the block deletion glitch, and it's just a 5-er, so we're out.
Pretty much. The lane decides to go for Land Molus first and check out all those other things on the way out there, although Kohrek is fluting all the way over to Death Mountain, leaving the bugs for later.
Interesting decision to decide to force yourself to come back here. Maybe there's some piece that just some kind of metagaming that he's not on.
Possibly trying to route it in while doing Misery Mire is the only thing I can really think of off the top of my head.
I suppose with that you're right. It's just an interesting decision to walk away from that there. I guess he's decided that he wants to get onto the Dark Death Mountain and the plethora of items therein, with the 2 items in the Super Bunny Cave and the 5 available to him in the Cave of the Hookshot, as well as that extra small key that he saw floating on that island.
Yep, that is correct there. Meanwhile, the lane is on the Land Molus as we speak there. We just have Master Sword, which is a little bit more power than what you would normally have in vanilla, but it's still an easy fight relatively, given that it's just the second boss.
Like, it's, with the Master Sword, it's just rather tedious, I say, with the best thing is you have to set up all these spins. The rocks can get in the way. If you're good on timing, it shouldn't give you much credit, and if you're watching that last race, you saw Thalane put on a boss clinic. And he continues to do so with a quick and easy Land Molus fight, and just under 28 minutes, we have our first dungeon completion.
That is right there, and Kohrek is walking over to check out the medallion for Turtle Rock. There we have it also as Ether. So we only need 1 medallion for both medallion required dungeons, and it's already in our pockets.
1 coin to open them all, as we find a Turtle Rock small key, 10 arrows, the blue mail, and another 5-er in the Hookshot Cave. I imagine he's now going to head up and pick up whatever small key is on that floating island.
Alright, the lane, meanwhile, is heading over to Gina's cave and seeing what the old man's got stored in his back room.
A mirror transition set up for Kohrek to see what has been teasing them on this island. We have a small key for Skull Woods. A little bit of time lost. Skull Woods small keys, not the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, it could open up a few doors to some other place there, but it's not really logically required for anything.
It only adds some speed, and the Desert Hermit was holding on to just 20 bucks. Looks like, yep, both of our runners are going to head into the Dark World here via the Village of Outcasts, trying to find where in the Fire Rod is hidden, and then there's 4 checks in Thieves Town that they could complete at this point.
And with the fire rod inside of Skull, in the village of Outcasts, there we can make a quick trip over to Skull Woods and clear that out as well.
So here we are, 30 minutes in. We've got one dungeon completion as we find the fire rod in the chess game. So they're going to have that just seconds of each other. Where do you think, Phantom, that we might find the divergence or what's going to be holding us back in this seat going forward, you think?
Well, we still have plenty of keys to go and locate there. We only have 3 big keys at the present moment. One of them's already been spent on Land Molos as well. So I'm still wondering where all those Palace of Darkness and Turtle Rock keys are, as I was mentioning earlier. Though there are still plenty of items that we still need, most notably the bow.
We'll need the bow. We'll need the ice rod, which was the crux of our previous game, as Kohrek did find one of those Palace of Darkness small keys here in Thieves Town. Interesting that thalane decides to go up north through Skull Woods as opposed to going through the quick 4 checks here in Thieves Town, but most of Skull Woods is available. In fact, the only thing that thalane cannot do here in Skull Woods is open the big chest. He's got a sword, he's got the fire rod, this dungeon's completable.
Very much so, yes. He can go right to Mothra himself as soon as we, just finish looting the place.
And there's the only guaranteed key that we will find in this game, as that key is required to be found there, so you don't have to mirror or reset out. And I also wanted to call out thalane with a clip I have not seen before, using the hookshot to clear that spike before.
It's pretty nifty there. I still like the extra speed gained off of the bumper, just to get over to the door faster.
Not a whole lot found for us there yet. And there was a Ganon's Tower small key. Not the most important thing unless there's an item hiding in Ganon's Tower, as we know that the key is on the bumper ledge according to the hint tile we found earlier.
Pretty much. I mean, there can be plenty of goodies that the pendant dungeons would require, but that, we'll see if that ends up being a thing or not.
As we find the Meyer compass, he decides to mirror out of there as Kohrek is striking the ground 1 to 30 times to see what is hiding in the dig cave, and looks to be having a little bit of fun with it at the same time. And there we find a big key.
To Skull Woods as well. And now that will allow him to check one more chest. The question is that big chest in Skull Woods important? We do not know.
It would be interesting to see, as that's a fetch, basically the Skullwood's big key being basically a fetch quest that thalane will have to double dip if it's something required, but then we'll just see how long it takes Kohrek to get up to Skull Woods here that thalane is going to clear through rather rapidly.
Yeah, it's not one of those things you want to go back to Skull Woods just for one item, but if the dice just fall that way, it may be important.
One thing I want to call out there is we get a random full magic decanter drop for thalane there. That should speed up their moth fight considerably.
Yep, the fire rod does do appreciable damage to Mothula. When you're stuck on just Master Sword for right now, that will make things a lot easier.
If only this Gibdo would fall over. And Kohrek picked up the hammer as a reward from the smith chain, I believe.
Here, have one of our sword-making tools. You can use it to flatten those pegs in the alternate universe outside. They've been bothering me when I was a frog.
And there we have the Book of Medora for Kohrek there in the hammer pegs. Now, not the most required now, as we can already clear through Skull Woods, and due to a bug in the logic currently, as thalane unfortunately does not have as clean of a moth fight as we had last time. The tablets are not holding on to progression because of a bug found in the version 30 of the logic. But it will give him access to read the pedestal.
you're in the area. You got the mirror. You might as well, just so you're not abandoning something on the pedestal that's required, like we were pondering about last game.
As Stumpy ends up having a whole lot of nothing, and Thalane's going in for round 2 with the Moth. Another mirror transition, and we'll see what is hiding out in Cave 45, making sure to leave that chest behind us. It's one of the more fickle followers in the game.
All right, the lane is making round 2 against Mafia, being a little bit extra careful this time. They're making sure he's to be careful with those spikes in that conveyor belt. Those spikes do true damage. We have picked up the blue mail, but the spikes do 1 heart of damage regardless of what mail that you have. But Mafia goes down. And today he drops some bombs, which explains how he was exploding like that.
And more interestingly, that's the red pendant for Thalane. So that's one piece of the pedestal puzzle as we get the turn in of the purple chest for Kohrek. And
So
that
we
was
know-
a small key for Ganon's tower.
So we know Swamp Palace is a pedestal or pendant there. We know Skull Woods is a pendant there, but we have not seen where the last pendant is.
We have not, and also we have not found many more maps since the last time we were really getting started. So I'm not sure how much information a map check will go through. And Kohrek's opening up the hype cave. Let's see what kind of cave we have today. Our first item is a map of the Dark Palace. Item number 2, some bombs. 3, the small key for Pod. And then we have the big key for Thieves Town and a piece of art. So I'm going to give that about a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, 4 or 5 sounds about right.
I mean, now we have with the hammer that Kohrek found, we now have access to all of Thieves Town with that big key chest. With that big key find.
That is correct there, and looks like the lane is going to be going into Thieves Town to do that first floor check, and meanwhile, Kohrek is going and doing the rest of the Dark World Overworld clear that he can do that right.
And interesting, he took a dip into the bomb shop to find out that Meyer and Pod are the 5-6 crystals in order to gain access to the Pyramid Fairy.
So that's 2 more crystals marked off our list here. So let's see. So we know that Desert Palace is a crystal because we picked that up there. We know Palace of Darkness is a crystal from the bomb shop. Swamp Palace is a pendant. Skull Woods is a pendant because we picked that up. Thieves Town, we don't know yet. And Mystery Mire we know as well. So the last pendant still has a lot of locations that it could be.
And what I also notice is this leaves the pedestal very, very much alive. Piecing together what could or could not be on there, just depending on where that final pendant falls. So, if you like pedestal seeds, we're setting up for a lot of potential here, and being Key Sanity, there's a lot more chances of that being there. Kohrek is making their way into the castle tower, and they're not going to find a whole lot for their trouble, a plastic shield and a heart container.
Extra health is never a bad thing there, but this being normal difficulty, it's not going to be that much of importance. So yeah, let's see. We know that Swamp Palace is a pendant, and Skull Woods has already been completed there. So we know that the pedestal can't hold the flippers, but depending on where that third pendant is, that could rule out some things, but we'll have to just see.
There's just so many options available for our friend the pedestal, as we're finding not a whole lot up here for Kohrek. And imagine a walk up to the catfish is probably next. They only have 2 pod small keys, so there's not a whole lot available to them in there. Depending on where just about 2 or 3 checks maybe he can make. Really depends on if you really want to spend the keys.
Alright, meanwhile, the lane is being a dwarf and digging the hole. Diggy hole. I'm going to get that big key that we saw earlier from Kohrek's side there, who, as you meant, yeah, it looks like he is going towards the catfish like he said.
And he has not yet been to Skull Woods, where this big key that Thalane found is to be used. See if that comes into play, as that's the only location that was not checked.
We'll have to see how long it'll take before he decides to check that again. Like we were talking earlier, it's just a one-off location, so it's probably going to be a while before we check it. But it is a possibility.
And it looks like it was a whole lot of nothing from the catfish, and Kohrek's gonna go ahead and flute away despite how could have possibly walked up to the King Zora. But it looks like he
could have.
The reason being he's setting up a fake flipper up to that location so he can check the cave.
Ooh, that's a good call there. That lets you check out the waterfall cave while we're at it as well. If you can just swim around those rocks.
He's gonna make sure he doesn't take that fireball, because with a safety built into the randomizer, where if you are hit while you are fake flippered in the base game, you would soft lock. In this case, it'll just kill you. He gets a piece of heart and another pod small key for Kohrek. A lot of Palace of Darkness is open to him with the hammer in hand, though the bow is locking away a lot of it, and we have not yet found a bottle to make a potion glitch possible.
That is right there. The potion glitch does unlock the bow lock side there. This is I wouldn't say it's a recent find there, but it's a newer find than some of the other tricks that are out there.
In fact, there was a new trick found like a matter of weeks ago in Ice Palace, I do believe, with a clip on the stairs in one of the rooms. As we get $500 to pick up the map of Swamp Palace. Thank you.
It's a treasure map, I swear. Give it a shot. You'll like what you find.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of treasures in Swamp Palace. The other problem being that we already know it's a pendant, so we're not really gaining any information there as well.
Pretty much, yeah. Alright, Thalane just checked out Cave 45 as well. Gonna be heading up towards Stumpy, which we already know is not anything terribly interesting. Kohrek is heading up into the Dark Worlds near Kakariko, so it looks like he is going into Skull Woods as well. I say as well, though Thalane has already completed it. But that will give Thalane a little bit of extra time to go exploring while Kohrek finishes this dungeon.
The difference being, of course, that Thalane did not have access to the Skullwoods big key right after this, or as the first time he was in here, so this big chest could be holding on to something important. If that is so, that gives Kohrek a bit of an advantage going forward.
Meanwhile, we have simultaneous Ganon's Tower small key finds, although in different places in the world. So let's see, where does Thalane go now?
Looks like he's going to check the hint tile here in Swamp Palace.
Knowledge is power, and he gets the power of knowing that what is on the Firelock side of Mystery Mire, I believe it was?
I believe that's what it said. I missed what items. Something about the Palace of Darkness. I'm going to pull it up on the restream here. The Palace of Darkness key and armor.
Kohrek opened up the big chest inside Skull Woods and found the big key to Hera.
Now that will give him a bit of an advantage, as he will be able to clear the Tower of Hera when he makes his way back up there. That's something that Thalane is going to have to find eventually. How long will it take him to get back there? That could be a moment that sends us to Game 5.
That is that's it's an order of what they decided to do Dark World stuff in, and it could be a big difference depending on how long it takes Thalane to go back to Skull Woods, and that's a location you don't want to check if you don't have to.
Yeah, that's a definite bit of a fetch quest, unless you're able to route it in with something else like a pedestal check, which we know is very much alive. Though we are still looking to find where the blue pendant is hidden in this game.
Well, meanwhile, Kohrek is taking on the final approach to Mothula, so let's see how his big bug fight goes.
And if you're not already giving these runners a follow, please do so. They're putting themselves out there at the end of this tournament, and they think by now they've earned themselves a Twitch follow. Also, if you are a German speaker, this is getting a German restream on Speed Gaming Deutsch. Please feel to jump over there if you'd like to hear it in your native tongue.
Ooh, Kohrek getting a little bit bounced around there in that room. But manages to snipe the Gibdo with a fire rod, but is a little bit low on magic heading into the Mothula fight. Won't be able to get off many fire rod shots, but we'll see. Gets a little bit of magic from the pot.
He will have a tough fight, though. He does have a bit more health than when Thalane made his first trek into here. See how it goes. Gets the Master Sword spin right away.
He does have hammer, although getting a shot on Mothula with a hammer with its incredibly short range may be a bit harder than it looks. Especially with that floor.
But if Mothula decides to stay low in the arena, it makes hitting him with the hammer just a little bit easier. Quick work, it's the 3 bombs and the red pendant for their trouble as the catfish coughs up the compass.
And the lane goes like, no man, I know where I'm going. I don't need a compass.
Interesting that he is deciding not to do the fake flipper that Kohrek did. I don't remember if there was anything of mass support. Actually, I think there was a pod small key in there, if I'm not mistaken.
Nothing massive was in there, but something could be something interesting.
I believe it was this. I think it was a pod small key in the right-hand chest.
That may or may not be one of those something that will unlock a good portion of pod. We'll have to see when they decide to go to Palace of Darkness and what order they decide to do it in.
Now, with the hammer in tow, there is potential to get far, but however, we're still looking for that bow. King Helmosaurus off limits, and get your hypes in chat, folk. Kohrek uses the mirror, grab the book, heads up to the pedestal, and finds out it's just Couch Cash. Move along. Rest in peace, pedestal. We hardly knew ye.
Boo. Oh well. They can't all be hype pedestals.
Oh, there goes a little bit of my fun, but Kohrek just going to go ahead and head back into the Dark World with their Thieves Town big key in hand. I'd imagine that's probably next on their list.
I would imagine so there. I'm not sure where the lane is going. I
think he might be making the exact same play because he has that Thieves Town key in his hand as well.
Oh, that's right there. I was mixing up my big keys there. So, yeah, we are getting dueling dungeons at this point.
And both of them have already checked the first 4, so Thalane is going ahead and serenading us with the song of his people along the way.
Trumpet boy, meet flute elf.
What is a shy guy anyway under that mask? At least I assume it's a mask. Somebody at Nintendo, get back on us on that. What's underneath a shy guy's mask?
They're secretly related to Mimikyu there. If you see what's under the mask, you'll go insane with terror.
I'm okay with that. Let's do this. Miyamoto, hit me up. Let's figure this out. Alright, Thalane going ahead on back further into Thieves Town is going to go ahead and check the hint tile, which Kohrek is ahead on. As you find out, the Ganon's Tower key is in the purple chest, both runners already having done so, thanks, game.
Journal hints, aren't they great?
As Thalane plays his song in disgust after the the square ate his sword beam.
So you've got rage slashes now. So what does that make this there? Rage toots?
A song of frustration. So you find just a Desert Palace map.
A map to a palace that we've already full cleared. Very good game. Thank you very much.
Head on down and we'll rescue the maiden and see what items are hiding downstairs. With the big key in hand, the big key and small key in hand, and the hammer, we will be able to check the big chest along the way. Hopefully point us in another direction. A big thing that's holding us back right now would be the flippers, as we have every other piece to clear Swamp Palace.
We still need the Ice Rod for Turtle Rock there. We still need the Cane of Samaria for Turtle Rock and for Misery Mire.
And
Flippers,
oh boy, do we need keys.
yeah, very much so.
Mire, big key. Pod, big key. Eastern Palace, big key. Small keys galore. Castle Tower, small key 2. Correct, just a couple steps ahead. And our big chest yields another big key to Misery Mire.
That's a good find there. That's what we want to see. That is one of those missing keys we were just talking about.
And with that find, that does open us up to all of Misery Mire except for Vitreous.
Yeah, I was going to say we don't have the boots, but we don't need the boots if we have the hook shot. So once we find that Cane of Samaria, we'll be able to do anything that's not in the dumb basement.
But hear me out here. There's about 5-ish locations there to be checked in Misery Mire now. And we know that there's a Palace of Darkness small key in there. It may not be the worst move to just head there next and take care of all those checks. Its key sanity has a little bit more value as we get almost synced scripted kills just for the Palace of the Swamp Palace Compass and Crystals to the Sky. Still looking for that final pendant. Look at that sync.
Unfortunately, now that we know that the pedestal is just couch cast there, the pendants don't really mean all that much, aside from whatever's in Sasha's pocket, which is a different dungeon entirely, but still nice to know which are pendants and which are crystals.
Indeed. It helps you route in when you need to go to Ganon's Tower. And looks like Kohrek is making the read that I did. Misery Mire looks to be the play, and I think Thalane just picked the wrong location to land.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a mind meld going on right now, so let's see what lies within the mire.
Difference being Thalane has already checked the other locations here, so he's just heading into the dungeon, while Kohrek still needs to go back and clear Desert Palace.
That's going to buy the lane a little bit of time there, and hopefully he will be able to make use of that when he gets stonewalled at Hera.
So that Tower of Hera big key hiding in the big chest of Skull Woods may be the thing that comes back to haunt Thalane, who's otherwise making pretty sound routing decisions along the way.
Yeah, it wasn't really any poor decisions. It's just Rando being Rando at this point.
There's definitely no wrong decision being made, or overall wrong decision being made, just wrong in the current seed.
Pretty much. Alright, so Kohrek is making the approach up to Landmolus there, and the lane, let's see what kind of goodies lie within the mire.
What we do on the left side is holding on to armor and one of the pod's small keys, so he's definitely going over here.
That's true there. I believe, how many items do we have total in the dungeon? 5, I'm thinking?
I think we'd only have access to 4, because one of those 5 would be Vitreous.
Yes, you're correct.
Or it could be more. I'm not... I know there's a couple small keys in the loot pool, so it skews my number a bit.
There's 2 items normally and 3 keys in the chest, if I'm not mistaken.
And then you have to add the compass map and...
Yeah,
8
that's
locations.
True.
8
All right.
locations. 2 small keys, compass map, big key, and 2 unique items. Also, there's a nice little counter in front of us that told us that it's 8.
I think I just failed a spot check.
Making some cash in plain sight. Shoutouts to chat for making me look silly. So we only have access to 7, though, because we can't get to Vitreous unless, the Cane of Samaria shows up vanilla. Which can happen.
It'd be very amusing, but it can happen.
And Kohrek's making their way in here as well. Always fun to see runners clearing through this room with the sword beams, as everything in here has only 1 HP.
Pretty much.
And there's just 10 arrows for Thalane, a few more checks to be made. I would not see that the pod small key is trash, as it's opened up more of the dungeon for us, and pod is quite the plethora of items. Normally a 5 location dungeon on its own, however, when you add in 3 more to that, plus the 6 small keys, the Palace of Darkness is quite the treasure trove.
Pretty much, yeah. We got the Cane of Burna inside of the mire today there. Not the cane that we normally expect, and can be useful. And we get a bottle. So that's our first bottle of the game, so we now have Sick Kid open up to us.
As well as even more Palace of Darkness, though out of logic. We can open up more items, as that unfortunately was not the cane we're looking for. Move along. Move along.
This is not the cane I was looking for. You can move along.
Move along. Alright, and what's in the box at the end of the railroad tracks here? Our final check to be found, and it's just the map of Mire. Alright, Thalane's piecing out, and if I'm a betting man, I'd imagine a mirror and a flute to 5 will probably come next.
Alright, and survey says, no, we're going back to Kakariko.
Oh, darn it. Oh, take care of Sick Kid. Then to 5.
Please, the doctors say that he's on his last legs. Only you can save him. Here, have this map, the Hera.
Why don't you suffer with your cold breeze off of Death Mountain? I don't need your soggy burritos. And he's going back to the mountain. Oh, he hasn't. I don't believe Thalane's been up here yet to check the dark world side of Death Mountain yet.
That is correct there. I don't remember what was found inside of Hookshot Cave off the top of my head. There was what turned out to be an unimportant key on the floating island, I believe to Skull Woods. But inside of Hookshot Cave itself, in Paradox Cave, nothing terribly exciting.
I don't remember. Nothing's really jumping out at me.
We do have Cane of Burna now, so we can check Spike Cave as well. That's a location we haven't been to yet.
That is definitely a thing. We'll see where that ends up hiding here. Or where here. And he'll also have red mail when he finishes this as well. Blaine's gonna open up the Turtle Rock portal, and maybe I wouldn't surprise if he cracks the door here and now and maybe checks the hint tile.
Why not? I mean, you're here.
For those let's go ahead and set the stage as we go through some recursive checks here. This is Game 4 of a Best of 5 series in the semifinals of the Fall 2018 tournament between Kohrek and Thalane. Thalane won Game 3 just a little over an hour ago, and sent us into Game 4 here. Thalane wins, and he moves on to the grand final to face the winner between Willard J. Bradley and Andy. The loser would wait for the bronze match for the loser of those two competitors. They've only their opposite have only played one of their best of 5 series.
Alright, so let's see. Kohrek is now checking the tablet here. I don't think, as you were mentioning there, the glitch is preventing anything of logical progression being on here. But, $20 is still $20. Not that we have anything to spend it on anymore.
It could be safety, it could be half magic. There's still open debate whether the silvers are technically logic required or not. So there is the one item that jumps out of the Hookshot Cave. There is that Palace of Darkness small keys that opens up even more of Pod, and with our potion glitch, and I believe 4 or 5 Pod small keys, most of that dungeon is available to us. The main thing we're holding back is the bow.
We do have the potion glitch, potions that we can potion glitch with now, but let's see if they decides to go for that.
And there's the Palace of Darkness big key in the Tower of Hera. That is even bigger for Kohrek to pull up a lead, as now Thalane does not have access to 2 dungeon completions behind that palace, the big chest in Skull Woods. That could be a death knell.
We'll have to see when the lane decides to go back to the Skull Woods, because otherwise he's got skipping an entire rabbit hole of progression.
The lane is going to go ahead and check the Spike Cave now, it would appear. Checking these north, east, south, and west for a chance at a ferry to go a little bit faster through the cave, but not to be. As that's the bow on oh wow.
Ooh, that's Tower of Hera is sort of the Palace of Darkness treasure trove there with the big key and the bow.
So everything he needs to complete the Palace of Darkness is now in Kohrek's hands. If you're a Thalane fan and you want the series to be over, you gotta be pushing Skull Woods into his mind. He needs to get to that big chest, because that's locking away so much of the seed now.
It's got everything he wants right now, and it's not something he's going to want to find or going to unless he just gets that nagging suspicion that something is there. But on the other hand, if you want more rando, and you want a game 5, this may be good news for you.
And if you're looking for that game 5, it will be aired tomorrow. Channel yet to be decided. It will be a standard Randomizer between these two. As a Ganon standard Randomizer. So unfortunately, only the bosses will be shoveled, but will still be a lot of fun. And there's still a lot to be seen as to how much that chest is locking away, because the shovel spot we haven't checked yet, and there's still whatever is hiding behind the Bollock parts of Pod. This could, depending on what's hiding over there, this could be hiding a lot.
We still have a lot of rando shenanigans that could potentially happen. So the lane is not written out of this just yet, but he is at a disadvantage from what we can see.
It's definitely a disadvantage, but there's still a lot of Randomizer to play. This is Key Sanity. They tend to drag for a couple hours, so strap in, folks. He's not out of this yet. And there's the magic cape, which we do need in order to get to our Ganon's Tower big key.
Yep, we have the big key now unlocked behind the bumper ledge.
And Delane deciding to route in the big key location, trying to make the best use of his small keys as we can, though without that big key, which is locked away by nothing. And there's another Ganon's Tower small key.
And I think that's our second Turtle Rock key, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct on that. It's the second TR small key. Still missing. We really need the cane to see much of that. And then did I see a piece of heart is in your house, numpty?
That is indeed. We have been called a numpty. However, shall we survive?
You know, you wouldn't know. It's not the worst thing. I have seen races where, and I have seen open mode races where someone has forgotten to check their house, and it looks like the lane easily pulls off the potion glitch. When you use a potion on a screen that transitions like that in that spot, it causes the camera to desync, and if you walk the mimics off screen, the game's like, oh wait, I can't see them, so they must be dead, and the door opens.
The game has not learned object permanence yet.
It is
So-
interesting because I've also seen that happen in Vitreous's on the way to Vitreous.
If I can't see it, it doesn't exist.
No, the camera unsyncing there.
Ah, okay.
There's no real advantage to it, but I noticed it happen in a race I was commentating.
Alright, so Kohrek is inside a Palace of Darkness there. The big thing here is that Kohrek has the bow and the big key, so he can finish his dungeon, assuming that he uses all of his keys wisely.
Well, with the I imagine at this point, a hammer jump should not be too difficult for them. Thalane's going to go ahead and skip it as they don't have the big key yet, which we know is in the Tower of Hera, and the Tower of Hera big key is in the big chest of Skull Woods, which I hope that small key reminds him that he needs to go back there. Hopefully the breadcrumb that'll send him in the right direction.
Oh, but there's our flippers. That might send them off in a different direction, though, unfortunately.
Well, there's a lot of items in Swamp Palace available, and that hurts Thalane in the long run, but there's still a lot to play.
Is indeed still a lot to play there. We found the big key to Eastern, though, but the lane still needs the bow to I believe you can beat the Armos Knights without the sword. It just takes ages to do so.
Yes, you can do it. Interesting enough, the Armos Knights are one of the more interestingly coded enemies in the game. The higher level of sword, the longer it takes to kill them, actually. And you can actually kill the Armos Knights with a boomerang, and it only takes 48 hits per Armos Knight.
Yeah, I still think we need the bow to get past the Mimic to get to the Armor Knights in the first place, or am I just mixing something up?
No, you're absolutely right. There are mimics in the way, but it's still an interesting it's an interesting scenario in an itemized game. But say you run out of arrows, you're not doomed.
Pretty much, yep. But with those flippers, we are going on a swim. We're gonna check out. We're heading up to Hobo at the moment, and from there, let's see. I'm honestly expecting him to go towards Ice Palace or Swamp Palace. Most likely Swamp Palace.
It's unfortunately going to send him in the wrong direction that he needs. As we find just 20 bucks there from the hobo. Thanks for the visit, kid. Have a dip.
Pretty much there. The hobo's just giving the rest of his savings to you. It's like, hey, you're a weird guy with a mask. I'll give you some money. You can use it to buy a better Halloween costume.
Indeed.
Meanwhile, Kohrek is taking on Helmosaur King, has gotten the mask off there. Just a few more attacks to the crystal to finish it off.
He's going for hammer pokes with the Master Sword there. And finally, it goes down. There's another pod small key for Thalane, and the Helmosaur King nets us today the red boomerang and our first of the 5-6 crystals.
Well, there we go. We can now forward half of a bomb. This bomb just goes boo. We need to get the other crystal to make it go oom.
What you did there, I see it. And Kohrek is heading back inside because he left the basement of those, a couple items abandoned there in Palace of Darkness. Interesting he decided to dove the boss when he did, but he's playing on his own time right now with the way we know that the game is shaken out.
Pretty much, and with that big key, we can hammer jump over to the big key chest and see what's inside.
Which Thalane was not able to do because he did not have the big key, and we know what convoluted chain that's hidden behind at this point. Though with the boss already defeated, now he's gonna have to. He will have to bomb a hammer jump. Because he needs to spend this key to get down to the harmless Helmway.
Yeah, if you want to full clear the dungeon and not leave any chests behind, that's the way that you need to do things. And thankfully, hammer jumping is not a hard thing to do for runners of this caliber.
What is it? A double frame perfect trick?
Something like that.
Quake requires the boots. We already knew that. And there's the big key for Eastern Palace, which Thalane did find, and Kohrek will just go ahead and take care of that right after he gets done here.
Yeah, that mirror from Palace of Darkness to Eastern Palace is always a great routing option if you can fit it in, and with the additional words, how do I do them? For the additional items that Kohrek has, they'll just give him even a bigger lead, and he's rewarded with the ice rod.
Oh my! Well, even more progression is hiding behind that big chest in Skull Woods.
Okay, this is just getting ridiculous here. So we've got the... Where did we find the big key for Skull Woods again?
The big key for Skull Woods was in the dig game. Thalane, after they both went to the Dark World at about the same time. Kohrek went down to clear the village, while Thalane went up and cleared Skull Woods. So when the Kohrek finally got to Skull Woods, he had the big key in hand. That was the big key for the Tower of Hera. Go clear through the Tower of Hera, we get the bow and the Palace of Darkness big key. The Palace of Darkness big key locked away the ice rod, which is hidden in the big chest, while there's also a crystal locked behind the bow.
Are we sure this isn't a customizer?
Layers upon layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. And if you're a Thalane fan, you're hoping his next layer takes him to Skull Woods. Though it's not looking likely.
I mean, yeah, he's I'm betting he's probably going to go to Swamp House because that's the treasure trove of his chest, and he's going to want to check all of those locations there. But pretty much, yeah, Eastern Palace is locked to him, essentially. Tower of Hera is locked to him. Palace of Darkness, he's already pretty much full cleared out. He's doing Alice Palace right now. He's done Misery Mire as much as he can and can't even get into Turtle Rock. So, yeah, his only options are Swamp Palace and check that big key chest.
Well, he can clear Eastern as well. Because the big key was in the Harmless Hellway, which he did open up.
Ah, yes, that was correct. He did get that part, at least.
Unfortunately, no. The only other thing I can see is if there's some item hidden behind... There really can't be anything hidden behind the Armos, or the Trinex, unless it's... No, it really can't be anything, because it's either Eastern or Ice Palace that have to be the last pendant, and we're about to clear both of them now. So the layers of that big key, that big chest, are buried. I suppose for logic sense, the last pod key could be there, or maybe something like the boots. Though there's no guarantee the boots are required now, as we've already cleared through two of the 3 boost lock locations that are big. There are layers.
Pretty much. Desert was a compass. Libraries, a medallion we don't need. And still have yet to see Ganon's Tower torch.
Now, unless Trinex has the boots, and then the boots are locking the Castle Tower second small key in Bonk Rocks. That's the only way this goes deeper. And both of them suck. And I do not want to be on record as wishing that on Thalane, as we find another Turtle Rock small key in Ice Palace.
Alright, that should make, what, 3, 4? Somewhere around there.
That does bump us up to 3. So once we find the cane, the dungeon will be clearable, but we would have to orphan the vanilla big key chest. However, Thalane needs to find that ice rod, which is buried behind the convoluted chain that I don't want to read through again right now.
Pretty much there. It's very convoluted. Let's just leave it at that.
Welcome to Randomizer, where things can be behind things, behind things, behind things, behind things. And that's what makes it fun.
It's Thingception.
I'm just glad that my brain can tightrope the whole thing.
It's almost Fetch Quest the Seed.
Fetch Quest, the Seed. And here we have a Master Sword Cold Stare fight for thalane. Interesting that at this point we are still sitting on Master Sword, which we got at the very beginning of this standard mode seed.
Yeah, finding that Tempered Sword would be a great addition to at least just pure enemy killing speed and boss killing speed. But it's not a problem for the lane. We've got 2 puffs down already. And bringing out that hammer for the Tempered Sword damage now that we've gotten the other 2 eyeballs out of the way. That's not the fastest kill in the world there, but it's still good job doing that. And speaking of the devil, there's the Tempered Sword.
Asking ye shall receive, and there's our final pendant. Though we know the pedestal is dead, it does let us know where our final crystal is hidden, which Kohrek just picked up in the Eastern Palace.
Pretty much there. And let's see, we might have dueling dungeons again there, because it looks like Kohrek is heading towards the Swamp Palace as we speak.
For those asking in chat, if this result we're seeing currently holds, Game 5 would be tomorrow. I'll get the exact time in a moment. And that will be a standard Randomizer seed.
All right, and yeah, if again this current lead holds there, yeah, Game 5 is tomorrow, and it's not exactly we're not in the final, so I can't really say that it's the Super Bowl of Rando, but it'll be an exciting game nonetheless.
It'll be the Super Bowl of this series, and for those, the channel has not yet been decided, but look for it on the speedgaming.org/schedule at 1:30 p.m. Eastern.
Meanwhile, Kohrek finds the Cane of Samaria inside the lobby to Swamp Palace.
All right, so that's more locked away there. So that unfortunately is going to send thalane even further away from where he needs to go.
Yeah, he has access to. He has access to.
Rock.
Yep. So that's item go mode for Kohrek there, but I believe what keys is he still missing?
Castle Tower small key.
We know where the big key to Ganon's tower is, so that's just a matter of going and picking it up.
We have the cape, so we're the Castle Tower small key away from go mode at this point.
Pretty much, we just proved that we can finish Ice Palace. I mean, we haven't gotten any small keys from that, so logically they got to be out there somewhere in the world. But in terms of practically, yeah, we can do Ice Palace, no problem.
And at this point in the seed, that Castle Tower small key can be anywhere that's left in the game. It could be in Ganon's tower. So we have all of Swamp Palace to clear, the Vitreous, all of Turtle Rock, a bunch of overworld locations that are locked behind boots, and we have Ganon's tower. The Castle Tower chests have both been checked at this point.
So, I mean, if the lane wants to pull a comeback here, he's got to hope that this Castle Tower key is somewhere stupid.
But it would be unfortunate that stupid falls even further down that aforementioned chain of despair.
Oh, yep, you're correct. Chat brings up a good question there. If we clear out the entire overworld there, can we have a small key guessing game for Ganon's tower?
I mean, potentially. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could make an official guessing game for it, but we could certainly have fun on our own.
Sounds like a plan to me.
And Castle Tower, both Castle Tower chests have been checked, so we know it's not hiding in there. So at this point, the Castle Tower small key is in one of the locations we have not checked here in Swamp Palace. It could be on Vitrias, all of Turtle Rock, all of Ganon's Tower, or any other overworld locations or fetch quests that we have not yet found yet. We have not seen the powder, we have not seen the mushroom, we have not seen the boots to open up those locations. There's still a lot of this world open to us.
Yeah, we haven't checked out King's Tomb or the Graveyard Ledge.
And interesting to note, Thalane will have a faster Argus fight here, as he'll just have the Tempered Sword to just quick clear through these puffs, though Kohrek is putting on a clinic here.
Yeah, double grab into spin slash will one-shot the puffs there. It may not be as fast as just grab and slash, but hey, it still works.
Alright, pulls out the fire rod, going for a bit of a quick kill here.
Ooh, misses the last slash on Argus. With the Master Sword, it does take a little bit of extra damage to finish him off. So, 2 rounds, pretty good.
Clean execution there, and down goes Argus. Our final pendant is held aloft to the sky. Sahasrara was a location I did not mention that could still be holding onto our Castle Tower small key. So that could be something that could be left orphaned for quite a while.
I've seen so many seeds where something critical has been in Sasha's pockets the entire time.
Well, there was a Sahasrara hit that I missed somewhere along the line, according to chat. Thank you for keeping me in check.
That works.
So it will be junk, unfortunately, so that's one item location we haven't checked yet. We didn't see anything of note on the left side of Swamp Palace, so Kohrek's going to go ahead and take care of that, despite not knowing.
And we still haven't found the big key to Swamps there, so we've got that chest still locked away as well.
So that could be another fetch quest we could unlock, which it may have been a hint for it, but I could be mistaken.
I don't recall anything for it there, but I could be wrong.
So where do you hypothesize that our Castle Tower small key is hiding for us tonight, Phantom Fox?
Well, that really brings up the question is, how evil do I want to be into our runners? I mean, we could theorize the most convoluted, stupid place for it to be, like something behind. It could be on the. There could go fetch quest to boots to something that's on the that would require a shoot. Now I've lost my train of progression. What could we have for it?
Well, if you really want to be mean to Thalane, the magic powder, or no, the mushroom is on Trinex, which turns into a vanilla magic powder, which then turns into the boots and it's on the Ganon's Tower torch. Just so we can have Ganon's Tower in there.
Well, we could have something else on the Ganon's Tower torch. We could lead to another fetch quest. Although we've already seen this shovel, so that's pretty much all the fetch questiness goodness that we're gonna have.
Well, the mushroom and powder have yet to be found. So the layers can stack on. Thalane is heading up toward Skull Woods. Will he make this check?
He's
looking going like north. I don't believe he's checked the pedestal either, so he'll probably route that in as well. But this changes flips our script just a little bit here.
So let's say he checks his chest because he's right here. Why would you not? There, he's gonna find this big key. He's gonna go to Hera. He's gonna get all the goodies that are in Hera. So he's got Eastern Palace, Tower of Hera, and Palace of Darkness to do, as well as Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. So yeah, that's like 3 dungeons that, 2 dungeons behind Kohrek at this point.
He's going to go ahead and check the pedestal, which isn't going to net him anything aside from maybe a little extra peace of mind at this point. But he needs to go to Tower of Hera so then he can clear the Palace of Darkness and get the Ice Rod, which then opens him up, and he's still a few dungeons behind. So while he's on the right path, perhaps it's too late, but this is still Randomizer, and we're still looking for that Castle Tower small key.
Now, if you're the lane, where do you hope that the Castle Tower small key is that Kohrek would not have checked by now?
It would be interesting to see how that goes. But he's crossing back into the Dark World now. Let's get a hook shot in hand.
I think he's going to pick up the Ganon's Tower big key from the Bumper Cave while he's here.
Yes, there's no better time to route that in for him. As Kohrek finds out that Quake requires the boots.
Yes, we were in the library where we learned how to read, and we can now learn that.
Alright, and Thalane will get there. Now, Thalane is the first to hold aloft the Key of Evil's Bane. Kohrek knows where it is, however, he's just waiting for the right time to go get it.
Unfortunately, we cannot kill Ganon with a key.
Now, the only thing that I really think would put... I'm just trying to find a situation where Thalane finds Go Mode first, and it's really... I don't see one where it's a sizable gap, unless, of course, the Castle Tower key is here. This may be a location that Kohrek may take a while to find because he's got so many dungeon locations.
This is true. This is true. We have not checked out here Graveyard Ledge yet.
Unfortunately, just a big 20.
And we can't open up the King's Tomb without the boots.
Alright, Thalane is heading up to the Tower of Hera, so he will find his Pod Big Key, which will give him the Palace of Darkness completion, as well as the Ice Rod in the big chest.
And the bow as well to finish off Eastern Palace.
Yes, you will find the bow off of Moldorm. Kohrek is clearing through Ice Palace, and Thalane makes their way to start unraveling the puzzle that he did not know was hiding a lot of his game. And as we're making some recursive checks, don't forget to give these guys a follow, guys. They have been putting on one heck of a tournament for you, and they deserve your support, win or lose. There's still another game to be played if this result holds within Kohrek's favor, and that'll be at 1:30 Eastern tomorrow. Channel yet to be decided.
Yes, that is correct there. And they've been playing a lot of rando for us there. What was the amount of games was listed, I think, in the earlier game there? Let's see. 5 qualifying games there, 15 pool games there, 2 best of 3s, and this best of 5, which is looking like it's going to go the distance.
Lots of hours have been put into this tournament, not to mention all the hours that they practice on their streams and with closed and not on stream. And they still have at least, with the result holding, they would have to play at least 2 more, if not 3 to 5 more games, depending on which result will hold. We held just about 260 unique competitors when this tournament started back in, what was that, October?
Something like that, and now we're just down to 4.
After that 260, we narrowed it down to 96 in the bracket stage, and then 32 or 96 in the group stage, then down to 32.
So regardless of how this series ends out there, we've got both of our runners can hold their heads high.
Absolutely, and along the way, participating in other things, Thalane pulling out the victory in the nice little French versus German show match I got the pleasure of getting to call. And Thalane takes care of Moldorm, picking up their bow and seeing how far this puzzle really went. Those asking, yes, there is a bronze match, which is a best of 3, if I'm not mistaken. All right,
I was under the impression it was a best of 5 there, but I could be wrong. I thought, well, I'll look it up later. But meanwhile, we've got Kohrek taking on the Ice Eye Cold Stare. But meanwhile, Thalane is going to go and finish out Palace of Darkness. They're going to see how far this rabbit hole actually went.
Just to recap it, because it's a fun one. So the dig game gives you the Skullwood's big key, which has the big key for the Tower of Hera, which has the big key for Palace of Darkness, and the bow. The big key of the Palace of Darkness opens up the ice rod in the big chest, which allows you to clear Turtle Rock. And if Trinex is holding on to something and the layers go further, I will probably go over this again. I hope you're keeping track, because I'm lost.
Again, are we sure this is not a customizer and that someone was doing this on purpose?
Well, that person is mean.
Well, such is the whims of fate, I suppose.
Kohrek, having cleared through the Ice Palace, is going to go ahead and knock out some of the Flipper Lock location as Thalane sets up a nice and clean hammer yump to find his Ice Rod. And probably feel more frustrated with himself. But there's still a lot to be played here, folks, so strap in.
That is correct. There, we're still looking for that Castle Tower small key. But without that, Ganon is just sitting up there smirking at us.
And that's the last item that we are looking for to find Go Mode. As of right now, we've got Vitreous, Turtle Rock, Ganon's Tower, and then potentially fetch-locked items between the Mushroom, the Magic Powder, or the Boots. We do not, unfortunately, Pedestal is long dead with just a little bit of couch cash.
Alright, it looks like Kohrek is going into Misery Mire. We saw Thalane come in here earlier there. I believe we saw Kohrek come in here earlier as well?
Indeed, both of them were in there at just about the same time.
Yeah, we just didn't have the cane at that point there, so we could not go to Vitreous. So, yeah, we've got the key already. We can go straight towards the big eyeball himself and stab him in the eye. Or eyes, as it may be.
For everyone that critiques the Zelda bosses of the past, we're always having that big glaring eye. Well, how about just a boss that's just a literal gob of eyeballs?
Pretty much, they're not, and that's not even touching the one that was just a big eyeball surrounded by puff things.
I mean, it's not really a big eyeball. It's just like a jellyfish or something.
I'm not sure what Argus is, to be honest. But one other thing to note there, we have not seen hide nor hair of the silver arrows as of yet. Again, just like last seed.
And that could be interesting, because if you just looking through SRL after the previous race, Kohrek just was not a fan of being in there through Silverless, though at this level, anything can happen. The Silverless is something you definitely practice, but it's something that can easily get away from you, and a Miss of the Torch glitch is basically life or death.
Yeah, we saw that happen last seed.
And Kohrek pulling off the spooky action without the boots. Shout out to some technical stuff that this is a spooky action which was a rather recent find.
How does that even function there? I didn't quite understand the explanation the first time I heard it.
I admittedly have not been able to take the time to read it myself.
Either way, it's cool, and we're glad that he can do it.
Indeed. It's one of those things to note where 20 some odd years passed, almost 30 years since this game was released, we're still finding new tricks. In fact, there was a trick found like 2 or 3 weeks ago with a stairs clip that was found in Ice Palace. So but go ahead and, if you haven't already done so, check out a link to the ALTTPR.com and maybe fire up a seed for yourself. Maybe you could be the one that finds the next trick, or you could be the next one here on a Speed Gaming Restream. We'd love to have you.
That is indeed true. Let's see, we've got Thalane heading into Eastern Palace. They're going to be cleaning that out. Kohrek is going into the Dark World to pick up that Ganon's Tower big key, because all he has left is Turtle Rock and that last small key hunt.
Yep, and one thing that occurs to my mind that we have not yet checked, nobody has looked at the Lumberjack Ledge.
Ooh, that's right. No one's even checked to see if there's anything in there. Although, no, it can't be anything in there because we can't beat Agate 1 in the first place.
True. So I guess it's just kind of nothing at this point. Unfortunate to kill my own hype yet again.
Alright, so
And
we know that progression is not locked behind tablets there. That does extend the keys as well, correct?
Yes, I mean, it could be holding onto the silver arrows, which could be do you invest the time to go fetch them in order to have silver arrows?
If you're in the area, I could see doing it, but yeah. Alright, so we've yet to check out the Witch's Hut, we have yet to check out Magic Bat. Anything in Ganon's Tower is still fair game in terms of that Castle Tower small key. And there's 23 chests in there, so there's a large possibility. Oh, yes, including the upstairs.
And the big chest.
That too. So there's still a large possibility that it's in there.
And at this point, it's really just Turtle Rock and Ganon's Tower that stands before us, or just a fetch quest that's in one of those two.
The rest of the overworld has pretty much been cleaned out.
We just gotta find the keys to the only places that are left in the overworld are blocked behind an item we have not seen yet.
Curiouser and curiouser. We haven't also not checked Pyramid Fairy yet.
Yep, and it looks like that's where Kohrek is heading next. No hints have been found either, so... soon enough, the lane is going to be catching up. Say that this extraneous check yields nothing and the lane chooses not to decide it. We could still be looking at a close race here, folks.
Yeah, I mean, Kohrek is just clearing everything, trying to find the Castle Tower big key, because you want to be able to route in Castle Tower along with Ganon's Tower there. But let's say the lane goes like, I'm behind because of this whole nonsense. I'm just going to go straight to Ganon's Tower and take a bet that it's in there. And if I don't find it, oh well, I've already lost anyway.
I think at this point, if maybe you're playing, maybe with a game in hand, you play toward the safer side, or maybe if you just want to stick the knife in now and be done, you go for the gamble. Because I imagine you'd imagine he probably feels behind in this situation.
I know I'd feel I'm behind in this situation.
I would feel behind just by being in this race. But that's
pretty much.
Alright, and we explode the big bomb, walk inside to find the map of Ganon's tower, and a piece of heart. So that's time lost. If Thalane does not decide to do this check, but he's going to check the shovel spot here, will he be as thorough? I'd imagine he probably flutes over to Misery Mire next. Which the key just kind of pointed him towards. Flute to 6, he's going to walk back to Vitreous, take care of the pile of eyes, and then he'll be... And if he decides to skip the big bomb, that's a little bit of time gained back, about a minute and a half if I had to wager. Ganon's tower routing could come into play here.
Possibly, but it's still Kohrek's got a whole dungeon walk, boss fight, and mountain climb ahead of the lane at the moment. So I don't know if the Pyramid Fairy check is worth that much amount of time, but I could be wrong.
Well, it could be. It could just be a layer, which could prove interesting. I mean, if that in conjunction with better Ganon's tower routing could bring this together.
That's entirely possible. So we'll have to see where it goes there. But it looks like Kohrek is getting ready to enter into the Turtle Rock as we speak. So let's see if the shenanigans go even deeper than they already have.
Well, if we talk about the layers to the logic and where it sent you going from here to here to find here to find here to find here, you could also add layers to what uses time. Where where if he chooses to skip this, it gains a minute and a half, and then he goes into Ganon's tower. Thalane starts full left, and then Kohrek goes full right, and it turns out it's a full left, or somebody gambles on the tile room early, and it pays off in a big way. Time can be picked up in these also sort of just piece by piece by piece, or there's also the variable of execution, though at this level I don't think execution will come in too big, though we have seen gaffes in this very series, so there's a lot to be seen here. It doesn't look good for Thalane, but I don't count him out yet. I'd also like to give a shout out to Say Ryu X for using their Twitch Prime subscription, the 7 months in a row. Thank you for supporting Speed Gaming.
Yeah, this logic is definitely full of layers. It is like an onion in that it has layers, and also like an onion, it will make you cry in this seed.
And there's the 4th TR small key on Vitreous there, so we will be able to clear out all of Turtle Rock here without question. And if this result holds, tomorrow the final race will be held between these two at 1:30 p.m. on a Speed Gaming channel yet to be decided. It will be a Ganon Standard Randomized Sword Normal Randomizer seed, so just boss shuffle on there. Unfortunately, we are not yet in go mode for either of runners. We're still missing our second Castle Tower small key. Though we are quickly running out of locations, we're looking at somewhere in Turtle Rock here, somewhere in Ganon's Tower, or behind a fetch quest.
Or possibly multiple of those, all at the same time.
Layers upon layers upon layers has been the name of this game. Do we dare call this the onion seed?
Well, like I just said, it is making me cry, so I wouldn't be surprised. Well, half magic is nice. That's a good thing to find, but a little bit later than we would have liked.
Well, it does open up making your Ganon fight a little bit faster, as you can just you can be a little more judicious with your fire rod shots. And also a reminder, folks, that this is also beginning a German read stream on Speed Gaming Deutsch. If you happen to be a German speaker, go ahead and give that a shout. And as I will give another shout out to Vetcht, who cheered 1,234 bits. Thank you for supporting Speed Gaming.
And the lane has now entered Turtle Rock, so we've got both of our runners in the same dungeon at the same time, so the lane has managed to catch up a little bit. But how big the difference is will depend on entirely when and where we find that Castle Tower small key that's holding us back.
At this point, a big Ganon's Tower routing could come in bigger than we initially thought, as Kohrek is going to go ahead and take care of Mimic Cave here. And if the lane decides to orphan this location as well, that's another little bit of time gained. If you're Thalane, is that something that you gamble on?
Ooh, with Mimic Cave when you're already right here, I would be loath to do so, but if you really want to take a gamble, that's something that you're really desperate for that few extra seconds, then that might be something that you would do.
And if you're a Kohrek fan, you're happy to find that a big chest in Turtle Rock to find the silver arrows which eluded us in that last seed. So we don't really have to worry about the torch glitch anymore.
Thank goodness, I bet they're saying.
Definitely feels good.
I'm sorry, every time that I see that little Super Mario World Brothers 2 Shy Guy sprite, it always makes me smile.
Definitely appreciate it.
And I guess the lane, they both have red armor there, although I think that the black Shy Guy costume is referring to the anti-guy from Paper Mario 1.
Very well could be. It has been quite a long time since I've opened up Paper Mario. To put a date on it, the last time I held a copy of Paper Mario, I pulled it out of a Blockbuster video.
Oh, there's a blast in the past. Alright, looks like we're checking the laser bridge. Nothing really of consequence found on it that I saw. Small key to Ice Palace in the big heart container, so that's something, I suppose. Looks like the lane is checking out Mimic Cave there, but is going to be a bit disappointed on what they find inside. Thankfully, it's not that big of a time spent.
I do need to go back and correct myself, because I've been auto-correcting times for myself in the past. That is a 2:30 game tomorrow, Game 5 tomorrow. Channel yet to be decided. Keep your eyes on speedgaming.org/schedule to find out where that will land.
And these times are Eastern, I'm assuming?
Yes, they are in Eastern Standard Time, and I live in Central and was auto-correcting it for myself.
But meanwhile, we have Kohrek fighting Trinex there, and we'll correct him from being alive to being dead. Right now, we've got the fire head already taken care of there. The ice head is going explodey as we speak, so we've just got the big snake body left to go.
A little bit off center, so the quick kill not as easy to pull off here for Kohrek.
But 3 tempered sword slashes and a spin, or some combination of that. And the big guy goes down there, and today we have on him $20.
So we are heading into Ganon's Tower. Alright, so I will not be able to start up the bot here, folks, but get your guesses in chat. Where do you think that Castle Tower small key is hiding?
We've got, how many did you say? 27 chest locations?
There are 27 chest locations, plus the also chance of the chance of it being on a fetch quest while inside.
Or, yeah, like 27 chests and also none of the above.
So you can guess number 1 through 27, or you could guess that it's behind a fetch quest item. So name your fetch quest item.
Alright, so we've got Kohrek entering into the Ganon's Tower as we speak.
Alright, so I will keep track of the number just for funds and for funsies in there. We'll call it out for you.
I will attempt to do so as well there, but don't trust me to actually remember the right number.
So I'm working on it. I got it written down here. Chest number 1 yields just a piece of heart. Chest number 2 yields just another piece of heart. And he's going right side. And that's another shout outs to Amazing Ampharos in chat, pulling out another situation where perhaps the lane gambles it's on the upper side and goes straight to Ganon.
Ooh, now there's an interesting idea. It'd be sort of a low percentage play, but it definitely could happen.
I think maybe if the lane was down a game here, that's maybe a gamble you take. Though Kohrek is playing for their tournament life, but maybe feels that they're in a good situation.
Well, there it is!
And that's on location number 4.
Alright, so Kohrek is our first player to go into Go mode.
And I will give credit to Zor __, who actually guessed 4 for us. So I can't give you any points or a spot on leaderboard, but congratulations. You're a witch. Burn him.
What does he wear the same as a duck?
Should we build a bridge out of him?
If we go... Okay, if I do start doing more Monty Python quotes, we're going to be here all night.
I will say it was an evil bloody bit of logic that led us here. And just under an hour and 50 minutes, Kohrek has entered Go mode. So the lane reserve that it's not in Turtle Rock will now have to head into Ganon's tower. If given the location, there isn't much of a chance for Thalane to gain time. In fact, he can only lose it if he decides to gamble left.
Pretty much there. And Kohrek also gets the nice bonus of being able to finish Aga 2 and puts you mirror right to Aga 1. And then go mirror, take the portal back into the Ganon fight.
So if you really look at you're looking for a, if you're a Thalane fan, you're looking for a major execution gaffe from Kohrek, which through the tower climb, I don't see if that would have to be a tower despawn or a death on Aga 2.
Something like that there. I don't think I've... you have to take a lot of damage in the tower climb to be able to die to Aga 2 easily. I don't see that happening, to be honest.
Given he has red armor, or the red mail, and silver arrows, I mean, not much is going to stand in his way.
I mean, there is that one glitch where you can despawn part of Ganon's tower, but, yeah, unlikely.
But not to discount the performances in this seed. Execution has been on point. It's just a small bit of routing has just cascaded a long chain.
Cascaded massively.
And just because it's fun, we'll go over it one last time. As the Castle Tower key pops up for Thalane, he's going to go maybe check out these other ones, maybe find a potion or something. So to go through, as we both entered the Dark World at about the same time, Thalane went up to Skullwoods while Kohrek went down clearing through the Village of Outcasts toward the Dig Game. The Dig Game held the big key for Skullwoods, which Thalane did not have when he cleared Skullwoods the first time. That had the big key for the Tower of Hera. Climb the Tower of Hera, it has the big key for the Palace of Darkness in the big chest, and the bow is on Moldorm. Head on over to the Palace of Darkness, and the ice rod is hiding in the big chest, which is behind that big key we found. So that one item locked 8 bits of progression just right there.
And the whole thing started just because of a simple up or down decision. And it's not really anything you can really even blame yourself for. This is just dumb luck. Well, not dumb luck, but random chance.
Randomizer giveth, and randomizer taketh away. Though there is no wrong decision, there aren't necessarily wrong decisions, just wrong decisions for the seed. And a lot of this randomizer and skill, and unfortunately, because it is random, part of it is luck. And unfortunately, luck was not on Thalane's side for this seed.
Not this time, though. But Kohrek is heading into the Aga 2 fight as we speak here. Let's see how many cycles we can get this guy down in.
Well, we will take our first geometry test, which is our advanced geometry test, interestingly enough. There's at least 4 hits there. It might be 3, because that first one may have been iframed away from, but it was not. That's 2, 2, 2. The sorcerer is down, the big pig is loose, but he still has to take care of the first sorcerer.
Has to take down his less powerful evil twin. Instead of Aghanim there, it's Haghanim.
And the land mole is unfortunately getting away from Thalane there.
But this comes to that interesting bit of routing here. You can just go to the south side of that hole, mirror, boom, you're in Castle Tower. That's what you wanted.
Go ahead and are building our way up through the towers. On your left, you see Ganon's tower. On the right, you see the castle tower. Just a couple more minutes away from Game 5. Potentially. There's still a little bit to play, but it's pretty much in Kohrek's hand. It's Kohrek's game to lose at this point.
At this moment there, yes. Ooh, getting bullied a little bit by guards, but he's got plenty of armor and health to spare.
And at this point, those guards just tickle. Hold still and accept your silver.
Little did we know that the guards were part werewolf.
Or, you know, the silver arrow is just maybe the strongest single hit in the game.
Yeah, that could be true there, but where's the fun in that?
Behold the power of silver! As Moldorm is a little bit of a pest, and Thalane shows him a piece of his mind. Moldorm 2 is down. And that was just a bottle there. So a red potion safety, you're not gonna laugh at that, though both of them I think have it.
Pretty much. I guess Moldorm was holding onto that potion and just in case he could go and grab it when he was fighting. Though how he would grab it with no hands, we will never know.
As we send Princess Zelda back to wherever we send her, Kohrek cuts down the curtain and heads into their second but first geometry test. How many blue balls do we got? Get your guesses in chat.
Oh, there's one right off the bat.
Note that this is RNG locked between the two runners, so Thalane will have to see this same fight.
Alright, looks like Thalane has finished up Aga 2 and is going to be heading into Castle Tower as well. So, yeah, he's just pretty much like an entire, I don't know, would you call this a mini dungeon or a full dungeon?
I would consider it a mini dungeon, because there's no item to be found, no map, no compass.
Yeah, it sounds about right to me.
Call it a gauntlet. It's an enemy gauntlet. Seriously, we're supposed to bring food. The king of all bacon is loose, and we start our Ganon fight on Kohrek's side. Quickly blazing through phase 1 here as he enters phase 2. Tempered sword in hand. He's going to go ahead and push right through it. Red mail in hand. He's feeling pretty strong. He'll take a few hits. What does it matter?
He's just tanking those bats there and spanking that pig. So we are moving on into phase 3 faster than you can say bacon.
Now, if he just holds still, we has in phase 4 here. That's 2 hits down. 2 hits down. Still 2. Now we're at 3. Hold still, sir. Sir, just accept your fate, sir.
No, I don't want
Sir?
to.
Sir? Please, sir?
Don't you like my teleporting trick? I can do it more if you want.
Alright, did we find the arrows in Turtle Rock? You bet. In fact, have one to the face. A little bit of a menu gaff, but that's the setup for a triple,
wow.
and that's 3 down for Kohrek. The big pig explodes. We haul our sword aloft to the sky. The fanfare plays. Just a 1x3 bridge separates Kohrek between him and finding us into a game 5. As he crosses over the finish line, I can announce that he has finished with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 0 minutes, and 6 seconds. Get your GGs in chat. What a race. We have ourselves a game 5.
It's time for silver scrapes there. Yep, game 5. This is going toward the distance.
Bee woo woo. Bee woo woo. Boo woo woo. Sorry,
No, unfortunately, I'm not going to have a bad singing competition.
Only one of us can be Marks, and tonight it will be me. And it looks like it looks like the runners will be joining us. I think we're gonna wait until we get ourselves into Ganon. Until we get to completion, I think.
It shouldn't be all that much further along.
For those of you asking in chat, Game 5 will be tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. Again, in standard, randomized, normal Randomizer seed. So only boss shuffle will be seen there. The channel has not yet been decided, but keep your eyes on speedgaming.org/schedule. Alright, and Thalane drops in to face the big pig, and he'll ask where lunch was. Unfortunately, there's no dinner for Ganon here.
The only dinner that you'll have is cold hard steel.
Or is it just steel, or is there some kind of magic metal inside that was tempered into the Master Sword?
Well, for the answer to that, we're going to have to go back to Skyward Sword and start looking at that.
I suppose that is technically the first game. I have Hyrule Historia, but I forgot where the timeline works out.
Well, there was the Skyward Sword, and then we had to go and we had to temper it in the 3 flames and all that other jazz. And then we've got whatever it is that Fi is living inside it as well.
Annoying?
Well, yes. Just like Ganon is right here.
Well, I disagreed. I quite like the character myself, but I'm not gonna argue lore here and who's better. I don't think either of us have the time for these fights.
Pretty much, yes.
He will not have the setup for the triple there, just a double. But there's the final arrow. Get your GGs in chat. Thalane has put on one heck of a race here for us. His sword aloft to the sky. The fanfare plays a 1x3 bridge is all that separates from him, and getting ready for tomorrow's Game 5. GG's there to Thalane. And we have now been joined by our runners in the chat now. GG's to the both of you.
GG, thank you. Yo, GG, Kohrek.
So what I have got to get hats off to both of you. What an insane pair of races back to back. Thank you so much for being willing to put on this show for us today.
Oh, no problem.
I guess I'm going to start with my first question here to the lane. So, up or down?
I guess down next time. Like it didn't feel really that bad. until I saw what was in that chest, and then I was like, okay, that might not be too bad still. And then it just like had everything locked behind that one key. So yeah, I knew that might be like very bad for me, but then again, there was like other things where I thought, okay, maybe messed this up or something, you know. And yeah, I think in the end, still 3 minutes. That's kind of close. So I'm happy.
Yeah, given that all that progression was locked behind that one minor decision that you would think of would have snowballed this whole thing into existence. A 3-minute differential is very good, I would say. So, good job staying in this race the entire way.
Yeah, I was really thinking about, okay, I got that big key. Should I just like grab the big chest real quick, do graveyard ledge, and then maybe continue whatever or wherever? But then I thought, okay, I already got that hint, I think, about the GT big key being on bumper ledge, like locked behind cape. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I should just wait. Maybe I get cape soon, and then I can just do like all the stuff together. So like definitely holding all that stuff off until I got the cape felt kind of nice. But yeah, if I knew, I would have gone a different way, I guess. But that's how it goes.
And I guess turning the clock back, Kohrek, torches aren't fun, are they?
I mean, game 1, or well, game 3, the end was really bad, but honestly, the more I thought about it, the more I was mad at myself for doing Dark Aga over Spike Cave, because I delayed my go mode by 10 minutes, and then I could have just fallen to Ganon like 10 times, and it would have been fine. But, things happen, and Thalane is a great opponent, and you can just see in this matchup, it's so back and forth. So it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, going back and forth, trading blows, despite how close the differences are in games, despite maybe one mistake by one person and one mistake by the other. I mean, the competition here is fierce, and if I'm going to be honest, as someone who gets to sit and watch it, a lot of fun, and for that we thank you. So I guess, how do you guys feel going into tomorrow's and a boss shuffled regular seed?
I think I can kind of speak for both of us that we are not happy with the mode we rolled. So we'll see how that goes, I guess.
So I guess, given what would you have preferred a roll to have been for tomorrow's game 5?
Not standard Randomizer.
Yeah, just about anything else, probably.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I suppose it is a little bit vanilla there. Although we could have the interesting situation of everything is Argus, the hook shot.
Or how long do you play the Trinex Gambit?
Yes, the issue is that's like really fun to watch, but playing this and like entering a dungeon, you're like, oh yeah, I can probably full clear this, except if it's that boss, and then it's like that boss at the end, and you're like, sure, why would it be something else, right? And yeah, so it's fun to watch, I agree, but it's like not fun to play at all. So
hey dude, what's up? I'm here. You can't kill me. Sorry about that. Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, in some dungeons it's okay, but others it just takes ages to get to the boss, and then it's like an unkillable Trinex, so it just feels so bad.
All right, and then if I'm going to be nice, I'm going to definitely wish early boots on the both of you for tomorrow, because it just as someone who's not good, just to go through that entire seed without having anything on your feet is just no fun.
Yeah, it was a long seed. We cleared everything, and we just had to walk the whole way.
One only wonders where they were hiding this whole time.
There aren't all. Well, there's the entirety of left side Ganon's tower that we didn't even touch.
Probably somewhere in there.
Yeah, I read the hint in Agatha. It said boots on Ganon's tower somewhere. So,
all right, I guess I missed that completely. It was we were trying to hypothesize key locations.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this like Kohrek wasn't done yet, so and I thought, okay, It's a little bit funny. It only takes 1 second, so I might as well just read the sign. So yeah.
And then I guess, Kohrek, how did you feel going through that seed? I didn't get to that one.
The second seed felt really good. I thought that there were a couple spots where thalane might have made choices that would have given him extra double dips, which is why I felt more comfortable, being safe and doing Pyramid Fairy. But I was still pretty nervous about it, to be honest. It did turn out to be the case, but man, it could have gone another way. So I think things felt pretty good overall. But man, it's been a long day of competing right now.
I don't think it's going to be I don't think I'm going to hold you my sledge smaller, so I will dismiss both of you. GD's on the great seat. I know you've got to get to the German race stream with thalane, so you can go ahead and duck out unless you have any last comment for the English-speaking folks here.
Just a quick thank you to everyone, and see you in Bronze Willet, I guess.
Oh yeah, we saw that file name joke that you did earlier. That was nice. We like that.
Unfortunately, he had to jump into the earlier match, but it was still a lot of fun for all. And we're going to go ahead and get toward the end of this broadcast. I want to thank both of our runners. If you're not already giving them a follow, please do so. They have put on one heck of a competition for you. Watch out for Game 5 tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on a Speed Gaming channel yet to be decided. You'll see that. If you want to find out where that falls, check out later tonight, or maybe tomorrow morning on speedgaming.org. We may not be the Super Bowl of the Link to the Past Randomizer, but it is the Super Bowl between these two runners. If you're looking at that Speed Gaming schedule, speedgaming.com or .org/schedule, looking on the main channel right now, there's a Link to Past Randomizer interactive race to be seen there. There is some the Donkey Kong Country 3 any percent tournament is just underway. Give that lots of fun there. There's some Deltarune to check out. Mega Man 11 on Speed Gaming 3. Speed Gaming 4 is hosting on the DKC3. Zelda 1 plus Metroid 1 randomizer on Speed Gaming 5 at 9 p.m. That looks to be a lot of fun. Some Ori and the Blind Forest if you like your platformers. Lots of stuff to be fine. There's still Game 5 tomorrow, and the other side of the semifinals has yet to be... Only one game's been played between Willard J. Bradley and Andy, so there's still about 4 games to go. Up to 4 games to go, and soon enough we will have the finals. I am Bundy to the Tree. Phantom Fox, you got anything else for the folks out there?
I just want to give a thank you to all of the behind-the-scenes people today, all of our restreamers and our trackers, and everybody involved. And of course, thank you to all of our runners. But as mentioned, I am Phantom Fox. Thank you so much for joining us all, and catch us next time if you can.
Thank you all, good night, and good rando.